The first time I felt the knife of fear, Maxwell was staring at Jason like the boy was a puzzle piece from another box. We were in the penthouse kitchen, marble island, view of Lagos traffic shimmering red below. Jason laughed at a meme on his phone. Maxwell didn't laugh. He just said, "Jay, you're left-handed. When did that start?" Jason shrugged. "Always been lefty, Dad." Maxwell's smile was thin as dental floss. He touched the mole on Jason's cheek. Maxwell doesn't have that mole. I do. I felt sweat under my silk blouse even though the AC was ice cold. Inside my head, a voice whispered, "He knows. Or he will know soon." That night, I found Maxwell in the study, lights off, city glow painting stripes on his face. Papers covered the desk, online articles about paternity tests. I spoke first. "Working late?" He didn't look up. "Barry, ever heard of a clinic called GeneSure in Ikoyi?" My heart banged. "No. Why? Just curious." Silence swallowed the room. I heard the clock tick like a bomb. I forced a small laugh. "Max, you're scaring me. What's this about?" He finally faced me. "Nothing. Just numbers in my head. Numbers. Percentages. DNA." I left before my legs gave out. In our bedroom, I texted a name saved as lab guy, Barry. "Need the document tomorrow. Must read 99.8%. Price isn't a problem. Lab guy, cash before pickup. No receipt." The lie would be printed on glossy paper by dawn. I told myself it was to save our family. But as I tucked Jason in, he said, "Mom, why does Dad look at me funny now?" I kissed his forehead, tasted salt and guilt. "Dad's just tired, baby," I whispered. Yet I knew tired eyes don't burn holes through a child. Sunrise in Lagos looks like hot orange paint smeared across the sky. I drove to Ikoyi before the city yawned awake. The streetlights were still blinking when Lab Guy slid into the passenger seat of my SUV. He smelled like stale coffee and cheap soap. "Your order," he said, dropping a brown envelope between us. I opened it with trembling fingers. Geneser Diagnostics. Bold logo, glossy finish, official words, 99.8% biological father. "Cash first," he whispered. His eyes darted around like rats in daylight. I counted 200,000, crisp notes. They vanished into his pocket. He exited, shoes tapping the pavement, ghosting into the dawn mist. Back home, Maxwell was already in the kitchen, sleeves rolled, frying plantain. Jason drummed on the marble counter, laughing at a TikTok. For a second, the room smelled only of ripe plantain and family. I cleared my throat. "Max, can we talk?" He wiped his hands. I passed the envelope. He read it slowly, eyes scanning line by line, like a detective studying evidence. A full minute of silence. Then he exhaled, shoulders dropping 20 kilos. "Looks like I was worried for nothing," he said, voice calm but far away. Jason looked up. "Worried about what, Dad?" Maxwell forced a grin. "Nothing big, champ. Grown-up stuff." Jason shrugged and poured more cereal. Maxwell kissed my cheek. It felt polite, not loving. But it was a start. "Let's celebrate," he said. "Tonight, all three of us. Street food, no fancy dining." "Suya?" Jason pumped the air. "Suya," Max nodded. "An extra pepper like real men." That evening, we crossed the Lekki Ikoyi Bridge, city lights glittering on the lagoon. Suya smoke floated in the warm air. We stopped at Musa's stall, famous for beef so spicy it could spark fire alarms. Maxwell ordered 3 wraps, heavy on adorato. "Madam, you sure?" Musa asked me, laughing. "Your tongue fit cry?" "I'll manage," I said, though my stomach was already burning from guilt. We found a table facing Admiralty Way. Music boomed from a nearby bar, old school whiz kid. Jason danced in his chair, goofy moves that made other customers chuckle. Maxwell unwrapped his suya a bit deep, eyes watering instantly. He coughed, laughed, slapped the table. "Hot!" Jason cheered. "Dad's on fire!" I tasted mine, tongue lit like kerosene. Tears filled my eyes, half from pepper, half from relief. I told myself the nightmare was over. All I needed to do now was act normal forever. On the drive home, Jason slept in the back seat, head bouncing softly with every pothole. Maxwell kept one hand on the wheel, one hand on my thigh. "Thank you," he said. "For what?" "For setting my mind straight." I pressed my forehead against the cool window glass and whispered, "Anything for us," but the words tasted like ash. That night, Maxwell played FIFA with Jason until midnight. Laughter filled the penthouse. I stood in the hallway watching them, thinking, lie successful, family safe. Yet when the game ended, Maxwell glanced at Jason's mole again, just a flicker of doubt across his face. Quick as lightning, but bright enough to blind me. 1 week later, Saturday morning smelled of cut grass and basketball rubber. Jason's school hosted the regional finals. The gym was a neon box, Bright lights, sweaty boys sprinting. I sat with other parents on metal bleachers. Maxwell arrived straight from the office, tie crooked, suit jacket slung over one arm. Jason dribbled, pivoted, shot a three-pointer. Crowd roared. Maxwell whistled so loud teachers frowned. Pride puffed his chest. Fourth quarter, 2 minutes left. Jason leapt for a rebound, landed awkward, then crumpled. A hush sliced through the cheers. He clutched his chest, gasping. I screamed his name. Coaches rushed. Maxwell vaulted the railing, suit shoes skidding on wood. Paramedics rolled a stretcher. In the ambulance, Maxwell held Jason's hand. I held his feet. Siren howled. Streets blurred into a smear of colors. Yellow Kiki, red Danfo, blue sky. Lasouth emergency buzzed like a beehive. Nurses wheeled Jason behind curtains. A doctor in green scrubs approached us. Parents? Yes, we chorused. We need quick blood typing and possible transfusion. Who's willing? I am, Maxwell said, rolling up his sleeve. O negative. Nurse nodded, stuck a needle, filled a vial. Minutes crawled. Monitor beeps echoed. I prayed, chanted, promised heaven everything. A resident doctor returned, reading a chart. His brows knitted. Sir, you're O negative, correct? Yes. Your son is AB positive. Maxwell blinked. AB what? AB positive. That's incompatible with you being the biological father. We just need another relative, maybe the mother, for match confirmation. The floor tilted. My legs wobbled. Maxwell's voice fell to a dangerous whisper. We already have a paternity test. Doctor shrugged. AB positive can't come from an O negative father. Genetics 101. I stepped forward, words tumbling. I'll give blood. I'm AB positive. Doctor nodded. That works. Needle in my arm, I watched Maxwell pace. He wasn't blinking. Not once. Jason stabilized after fluids. We were allowed to see him. He lay pale, breathing through a mask, eyes half open. Hey, champ, Maxwell said, voice soft as rain. Jason managed to smile. Did we win? We will, once you're back. I kissed Jason's forehead, tasting hospital disinfectant and boy sweat. When we stepped out, Maxwell grabbed my elbow back, steering me into a supply closet. The light flickered, shadows dancing on mops and buckets. Explain, he said. Not loud, scary quiet. I felt the closet shrink. It's just blood types. Rare stuff happens. He shook his head slowly. AB positive can't be explained away. And the test? Did you fake it? Heart thundered. I opened my mouth, no words came. The door creaked and a nurse poked her head in. We froze. Sorry, I need gloves, she said, grabbing a box, leaving. Door shut again. Maxwell pressed his palms against the wall, forehead touching plaster. Barry, I need truth. Right now, before I walk out of this hospital a stranger. My throat was sand. The world swirled, bleach smell, buzzing light, faraway intercom announcing code blue. I reached for him. Maxwell. He stepped back. No. Don't. His eyes were glassy but hard. I will handle Jason's care. After that, we talk. Or we don't. Depends on what you finally say. He left me in the closet, breathing mop water air. My phone buzzed. Lab guy. Lab guy. Word around is hospital flagged your file. I'm out of town. Good luck. I sank to the floor, kneeling in stale puddles, hugging myself. In the corridor, Maxwell was already signing forms. A doctor explained something about genetic screening to rule out hidden conditions. Maxwell nodded, but stared at me over the clipboard, eyes sharp as broken glass. Jason soon slept in a private ward. I sat beside the bed, stroking his hair. Maxwell stood by the window, watching the parking lot, not speaking. At 3 a.m., a senior consultant entered. Gray beard, calm voice. We plan a full genetic panel in the morning, he said. It helps us map future risks. Maxwell agreed quickly. I wanted to scream no, but my lips stayed shut. When the doctor left, Maxwell finally spoke. Whatever comes next, Barry, is on you. I swallowed tears. I'm sorry. He didn't answer. Dawn seeped pink through the blinds. Birds chirped outside, unaware they were singing over a minefield. The next morning smelled of strong coffee and latex gloves. Doctors moved around like bees, white coats fluttering. A tall man in a navy blazer stepped into Jason's room. He carried a silver tablet and an accent that sounded half London, half Ibadan. Good morning, he said, warm smile. I'm Dr. Edwards, visiting geneticist. Maxwell nodded, stiff. I managed a small wave. Dr. Edwards continued, I'm running a pilot for a new DNA scanner. We pick random cases, scan swabs, show parents how fast genetics can guide treatment. Totally free. Maxwell's jaw tightened. Random? Yes, sir. A nurse handed me 3 files. Your son's came on top. He pulled out 2 foam swabs. Jason blinked, still pale but curious. Open wide, champ, Dr. Edwards said. Jason obliged. 2 quick swirls, one cheek, then the other. Mom, Dad, quick cheek swab as well, he added. My hands trembled. Maxwell's did not. Swabs went into a slot on the silver tablet. A blue bar crawled across the screen. Just a minute, the doctor said. Pretty neat, right? No needles. Jason tried to grin. Cool tech. I wanted to run, but my legs were nailed to the floor. The bar finished. The tablet chimed. Dr. Edwards tapped. A large projector on the wall flashed to life, mirroring his screen. It showed 3 circles marked child, mother, putative father. Tiny letters scrolled, gene markers, percentages, collision of letters and numbers that made no sense until 3 words lit up in red under Maxwell's circle. No paternal match. Silence. A nurse froze in mid-step, holding a tray of gauze. Maxwell's eyes locked on the red letters and did not move. Jason, poor sweet Jason, sat up confused. What's that mean? He asked. Voice small. I swallowed hard. Nothing, honey. The machines mess up. Dr. Edwards frowned, tapping the tablet. Let me rerun. Sometimes alignment. He reloaded. Same red verdict. He cleared his throat. Strange. Sir, are you the legal guardian? Maxwell stared at the wall. I am the father, he said, the words flat like dead batteries. More staff drifted in, curious. The projector's glow cast everyone in pale light. A junior doctor whispered, AB positive kid? Oh, negative dad? Impossible. I felt sweat on my back, though the AC was icy. Jason looked at me, then Maxwell. Dad? He asked. One word, the kind that cracks stone. Maxwell placed a hand on Jason's shoulder. It means the machine is wrong, he told him. Calm. Too calm. To Dr. Edwards, he said, turn it off. The doctor tapped, and the wall went blank. But the red words were now burned into all our minds. Maxwell stood. Thank you, doctor. We'll need privacy now. Dr. Edwards stepped out, mumbling apologies. Nurses followed. Only the beep of Jason's monitor remained. Maxwell leaned over Jason. Rest, champ. Mom and I will be right outside. Jason nodded, confused eyes glossy. In the hallway, Maxwell spoke in a low growl. Another lie, Barry. Tears blurred my sight. Max, please, let's talk somewhere else. No, he said. We talk here. No more closets. I tried a shaky smile. Machines can err. Maybe sample mix-up. His laugh was short and bitter. Sample mix-up? After blood types didn't match? After a glossy report said they did? He rubbed his face. I need air. He walked away, footsteps echoing on the tiles. I stood there, shaking as nurses rolled carts and families whispered. The corridor outside pediatrics looked normal. Cream walls, framed health posters, floor that smelled of bleach. But I felt like standing on shaky ground. Every face turned as Maxwell passed. Word travels fast in hospitals without a single tweet. At the nurse's station, he stopped. Who authorized that demo in my son's room? He asked. A head nurse, round glasses, replied, Management approved Dr. Edwards' pilot weeks ago, sir. Maxwell's voice stayed steady. Call him back. I want that data deleted. She phoned someone. I hugged my arms, wishing I could vanish. Footsteps clattered. Dr. Edwards jogged up, tablet in hand. Sir, the data stays local. Only on this device. Erase it. Protocol says we keep anonymized. Maxwell stepped closer. That is my family. Delete it. The doctor hesitated, then sighed. Finger slid across the screen. File removed. He held up the tablet like proof. A cleaner pushing a mop bucket paused near me. Madam, you okay? He asked. I nodded too fast. Yes, thank you. But tears leaked. The cleaner offered a small packet of tissues, cheap brand, thin paper. I took it like gold. Dr. Edwards spoke softly to Maxwell. Sir, sometimes there are adoption cases, step-parent situations, no judgment. Maxwell's laugh was dark. Not adoption, just betrayal. The doctor frowned. I'm sorry. A distant alarm sounded, someone else's emergency, but my heart heard only ours. More hospital staff arrived. A resident curious about the new scanner, a matron checking charts. They formed a loose circle, talk buzzing. One matron whispered, Is that the family with the mismatch? Another hissed, Shh, respect privacy. But their eyes stayed glued. I felt naked. Maxwell turned to them, voice loud now, slicing the air. Everyone back to work. This is not a show. People scattered, pretending to adjust IV lines, though ears still pointed our way. Jason's door opened. He stood there in hospital gown, IV pole rolling beside him. Mom? Dad, why are you fighting? I hurried over. Sweetheart, you're supposed to rest. He frowned. I heard yelling. Maxwell knelt beside him. I saw muscles in his jaw jump. We're sorry, Jason. It's grown-up confusion. Jason looked at both of us, eyes tired. Am I gonna die? No, we said in unison. My throat burned. A doctor approached. Parents, please. The patient needs calm. Let's return him to bed. Jason let the doctor guide him. He whispered over his shoulder, "Please stop fighting." As they wheeled him back, Maxwell leaned against the wall, hand covering his face. His shoulders shook once. Silent quake. I stepped close. "Max?" He dropped his hand. Eyes red but dry. "You'll tell me everything, after I know he's safe." "I will," I said, voice tiny. He walked away again, heavier steps now. I collapsed onto a plastic chair. The cleaner still nearby gave me a sad nod. I blew my nose in the cheap tissue and told myself to breathe. 20 minutes later, Dr. Edwards returned, this time with the hospital's head of genetics, Dr. Angela Smith. Short, brisk, silver hair. She addressed me first. "Mrs. King," she began, "for Clarity and Jason's health, we suggest a formal chain of custody test. Nothing public. Standard lab. Will you consent?" I bit my lip. "If it helps my son, yes." She nodded, professional smile. "We can schedule blood draws once he's stable." Maxwell came back, coffee cup in hand, though his eyes said he hadn't tasted it. Dr. Smith repeated the plan. He agreed with one condition. "Results go to me first." Dr. Smith accepted. Of course. After they left, Maxwell and I sat side by side, a gulf between our chairs. Machines beeped down the hall. A toddler cried in another room. Somewhere, someone laughed at a phone video. Life rolled on while ours stalled. Maxwell spoke without looking at me. "What were you so afraid of, Barry?" I stared at my shoes, expensive leather now scuffed. "Losing you." He exhaled long and slow, "Yet here we are." He sipped coffee, winced at the taste. The elevator dinged, releasing 2 elderly women in bright Ankara. They passed, gossiping about a cousin's wedding. One glanced at us, sensing tension, and whispered to the other. I felt heat rise in my cheeks. Visiting hours ended, lights dimmed to evening mode. Maxwell stood. "I'm staying. You should rest." "I'll stay too," I said. He shook his head. "Jason needs one calm parent tonight. That's not me." The words cut deep but were true. I kissed Jason goodnight. He was half asleep, murmuring about the next game. I brushed his hair. "Mom loves you," I whispered. Outside, Maxwell handed me the car keys. His eyes held no anger now, only a tired ache. "Drive safe." I nodded, took the keys. My hands still shook. In the lift down to the parking lot, I caught my reflection in the mirror. Mascara smudged, hair frizzy, face lined with worry. I almost didn't recognize the woman staring back. Doors opened to the underground garage, cool, echoing. My SUV sat under fluorescent light. I climbed in, shut the door, and screamed. Not loud, but long, a sound like tearing cloth. Then I rested my forehead on the steering wheel and cried until horn beeps from another car startled me. I wiped my face, started the engine, and drove into the Lagos night, taillights painting red lines on wet asphalt. I returned to the hospital at dawn. Neon lamps still hummed in the corridor. Maxwell sat outside Jason's room, elbows on knees, eyes red as brake lights. No coffee cup this time, only a folded paper in his hand. "Lab called," he said, voice like dry paper. "Chain of custody test is booked for 8. I nodded. "Good." He unfolded the paper, my fake GeneSure report. He had circled the clinic stamp in bright red pen. "Barry, talk." I felt my throat close but forced words out. "I paid a lab tech. I needed you calm." "How much?" 200,000. "Were you calm afterward?" he asked, one eyebrow raised. I shook my head. I'm dying inside. He leaned back, stared at the ceiling like he might find answers there. "Who is Jason's father?" The hallway felt colder. I wrapped my arms around myself. "His name is David. David Cole." "We dated while you were on that Port Harcourt project." Maxwell closed his eyes. "My 9 months away." I nodded. "I felt lonely." Stupid excuse, I know. "Does David know?" "No. He left for Canada right after Jason was born." I cut ties. Maxwell rubbed his temples. "So you lied for 15 years, then forged science?" "Yes." Tears blurred everything. "I was scared. You love Jason more than oxygen. I thought the truth would kill that." He shook his head, sadness in his smile. "You never gave me a chance to decide." Silence swallowed us. A cleaner mopped past, humming old Tubaba. Life kept moving. Maxwell stood. "I need air." He started walking. I grabbed his sleeve. "Max, please don't leave our son today." He pulled free gently. "I'm not leaving him. I'm leaving the lie." He walked toward the stairwell, back straight but steps heavy. I slid down the wall and cried into my palms. A nurse touched my shoulder. "Madam, sorry," she whispered. I nodded, unable to speak. Dr. Angela Smith arrived with 2 technicians. They drew blood from Jason, from Maxwell, then from me. Each vial sealed, labeled, logged. No shortcuts this time. Jason asked what was happening. I told him, just routine checks. My voice sounded fake to my own ears. After they left, Maxwell returned, face washed, eyes clearer. He sat beside the bed and read Jason a sports magazine. His voice was steady, but his hands trembled on the pages. I watched them, guilt a boulder on my chest. Lunch hour faded into afternoon. Dr. Smith popped in, said results would take 48 hours. Maxwell thanked her politely, the way you thank a policeman writing you a ticket. Later, in the hospital cafe, Maxwell broke the silence. When Jason is out, we sit down with him. You tell him the truth. He deserves that. I swallowed. He's just 15. So was I when my father died, he said. Truth hits hard. Still better than silence. I nodded. Tears spilled again. Maxwell offered no tissue this time. Fair. I deserved the wet cheeks. By evening, news leaked the old-fashioned way, one whisper at a time. First came Auntie Rose, Maxwell's favorite aunt. She rang his phone 3 times. He declined twice, then answered on speaker. Maxwell, my son, I heard something disturbing at church fellowship. Are you all right? He kept his tone flat. We're managing, Auntie. She lowered her voice. They say Barry did something. Come to my house. We'll pray. Maxwell ended the call with a polite, thank you, Ma. No more. Next was my cousin Linda, breathless on the line. Barry, Mama heard from Sister Grace whose niece works at Lesuth. Is it true? I lied one more time. Minor mix-up. Please keep it private. But privacy in Lagos spreads like spilled palm oil. Everywhere, staining everything. The real shockwave hit when my father phoned from Enugu. His baritone filled the speaker. Barry Nkemdalim. He thundered. He only used my Igbo middle name when war was near. What shame have you carried to our gate? I stammered. Papa, please. You will come home. We shall consult the elders. This abomination must be cleansed. He hung up before I could plead. Maxwell's mother called next. Her tone wasn't thunder. It was ice. Bring my grandson to the village. The priests will decide if evil spirits toyed with him. I pictured the Anglican church she dragged Jason to. Candles everywhere, women singing off-key, gossip hiding in every hymn. Back at Jason's ward, Maxwell muttered, Prayer vigil starts at my mother's by Saturday. She already hired a drummer. I almost laughed, then remembered nothing was funny. Visitors piled in the next morning. Pastor Collins from our estate church arrived with 3 deacons, each holding worn Bibles. They asked to pray over Jason. I let them. They prayed in tongues so loud a nurse shushed them. After they left, Maxwell chuckled, dry. Even God might need earplugs. I managed a smile. Thank you for not throwing me out. He shrugged. Can't throw out half of my son's world. Callers kept coming. Neighbors, coworkers, even Jason's basketball coach with a get well card signed by the whole team. Everyone had kind eyes but curious hearts. One surprise visitor was Mama Tayo, the cleaner who'd given me tissue. She arrived in night shift uniform, carrying a small bowl of pepper soup wrapped in foil. This will help the boy regain strength, she said. Her eyes held no judgment, only care. I nearly hugged her. Maxwell thanked her warmly. You didn't have to. She shrugged. We're all parents. She left quietly. Around noon, Maxwell's cousin Felix stormed in. Suit too tight, tie loose. Guy, how you day? He asked Maxwell, ignoring me. Maxwell sighed. Felix, not now. Felix leaned in. Bro, women will disgrace you. You need to send her packing. Make example. Maxwell stared at him. Take your example and leave. Felix raised his palms. Na Usabi. He left, muttering. I sat beside Jason's bed, watching his chest rise and fall. My phone buzzed nonstop. WhatsApp groups on fire. Estate wives, Cole family cousins, class of 2000. One message from an unknown number read, Shame on you, homewrecker. I blocked it, but more came. At sunset, Dr. Smith delivered good news. Jason's collapse was dehydration and mild arrhythmia, recovering well. She said he could go home in 2 days. After she left, Maxwell leaned back, eyes closed. 2 days until real war starts, he whispered. I touched his hand. He didn't pull away, but he didn't hold back. That night, I slept on the room's couch. Maxwell dozed in the chair. Around 2 a.m., Jason woke up crying softly. I rushed over. Mom, why is everyone sad? My voice cracked. We're just tired, sweetheart. Dad was crying earlier. I looked at Maxwell. His eyes were open, listening. Grown-up stuff, he said gently, getting up to stroke Jason's hair. We'll fix it, okay? Jason nodded, trusting. He fell back asleep. Maxwell and I stood in dim monitor glow. He whispered, After discharge, we gather at Aunt Rose's house. Family meeting. No excuses. I nodded, dread flooding me. I'll tell them everything. Not them. he corrected. Jason. First Jason, then whoever cares. At dawn, birds chirped outside again. Maxwell poured 2 paper cups of vending machine coffee, handed me one. He raised his cup in a small toast. To truth. I clinked mine, whispering, and to the mess it brings. Our cups were still between us when the lab's unknown number flashed on his phone. Results ready. 48 hours became 18. Maxwell's hand shook slightly as he tapped answer. The lab courier arrived 10 minutes after dawn, eyes half open, badge swinging on his neck. He carried 3 sealed envelopes, one for legal record, one for the hospital file, one for us. Maxwell signed, nodded thanks, then walked with the envelope to the empty parent lounge. I followed. My hands shook so hard I dropped my phone. Maxwell sat, tore the flap with slow care, and pulled out the sheet. Black letters on white paper, cruel and clear. Paternity probability, 0.00%. I felt the world tilt. Maxwell placed the sheet on the coffee table like a dead bird. His voice came out small. No more doubt. A tap on the glass door. Dr. Smith, kind but formal, asked if we were ready to talk to Jason. Maxwell nodded once. We walked back to the ward, each step heavy as wet cement. Jason sat propped on pillows, earbuds in, watching a basketball highlight on his tablet. He smiled when he saw us. Smile faded when he saw our faces. He removed one earbud. Bad news? I sat on the edge of the bed. Maxwell stayed standing, arms folded. My mouth felt like chalk, but I began. Jason, remember we said doctors were doing more tests? They checked our blood and genes to keep you healthy. I swallowed. Those tests showed something important. Dad, Maxwell isn't your biological father. Jason blinked, unsure if he'd heard right. What does that mean? He's my dad. He looked at Maxwell, waiting for the joke to end. Maxwell's jaw worked, but his voice stayed calm. I will always be the man who raised you. The man who taught you to ride a bike, who cheers at every game. But the science says another man, someone Mom knew long ago, gave you your blood type. Jason's eyes widened, then narrowed. He turned to me. Mom, is this real? Like, real? Tears blurred my sight. Yes, baby, I'm so sorry. Silence, thick as fog. Jason's tablet slid off his lap to the floor, clattering. He didn't flinch. His face went blank, the way glass looks right before a crack forms. Why didn't you tell me? His voice shook between child and young man. I was scared, I whispered. Scared of losing both of you. But you lied every day, he said louder. All my birthdays, every school form, Dad signs father. He slapped the bed rail. So who am I? Some mistake. I reached for him. He jerked back. Don't touch me. Maxwell stepped forward. Jason, breathe. Jason's chest heaved. You knew now, he said to Maxwell, voice breaking. And you still call me champ? Maxwell's eyes glistened. Because you are. DNA can't change 15 years. Jason clenched his fists. It changes everything for me. Kids at school say I look mixed. Now I know why. I'm a lie walking. Jason, I began. He cut me off. Was I an accident, Mom, or did you choose this? His word choose dripped with anger. I felt the stab. You were wanted more than anything. Except truth, he hissed. He ripped the IV tape off his arm. Blood dotted the gauze. Alarms beeped. A nurse rushed in, resecured the line. Jason turned his face to the wall, shoulders shaking but no tears coming. The nurse mouthed, "Give him space," then left. Maxwell and I stood there, helpless. I tried again. I love you, Jason. He didn't move, didn't speak. Maxwell touched my shoulder. Let him breathe. We stepped out. The door clicked shut with a final sounding muffled thud. In the corridor, Maxwell spoke quietly. He needs time. And a plan. A plan? I echoed. He nodded. Tonight. 3rd Mainland Bridge. You and I. And Jason, if he chooses. We decide how to go forward, away from hospital walls and gossip mouths. I thought of the lagoon at dawn, the longest bridge in Africa, cars rushing like thoughts. Okay, I said, though fear curled in my stomach. Jason was discharged by late afternoon. Maxwell signed papers. I packed the duffel. Jason walked between us in silence, hoodie up despite the heat. Outside, the city roared. Okada horns, hawkers shouting pure water. But the 3 of us floated in a bubble of quiet. At home, Jason went straight to his room. The slam of the door shook a picture frame, his under-17 trophy photo with Maxwell. Glass cracked diagonally. Maxwell called through the door. 6:30, we drive. No answer came. 6:30 arrived. I stood by the SUV, engine running. Maxwell waited at the stairs. Jason emerged, eyes red, trophy photo in his hand. He climbed in the back seat without a word. The drive to the bridge cut through Lagos twilight. Pink and gold light fading into neon signs. Nobody spoke. Radio stayed off. We parked at a lay-by where fishermen tie small boats. Traffic hummed behind us. The lagoon stretched wide, dark, smelling of salt and diesel. A humid breeze slapped our faces. Maxwell walked to the railing, tossed his car keys onto the concrete, then pulled off his wedding ring, the platinum band he'd worn since our modest court in Acacia. He dangled it over the water. Street lamps cast gold on his hand. Jason gasped, "Dad, don't!" Maxwell turned, eyes on Jason. "Why not?" Jason stepped closer. In the gloom, his face looked older. Because that ring means you were there. For everything. His voice cracked again, but steady. Maxwell lowered his hand. "I was there. I still am." He slipped the ring into his pocket instead. A slow silence. I moved beside them. Lagos night sounded like a distant party. Music thumping from mainland bars, laughter carried by wind. Maxwell spoke first. "Barry lied. I believed the lie because I loved the picture it painted. That's on both of us." He faced Jason. "You did nothing wrong. You're not a lie." Jason stared at the water. "Then what am I?" "You're Jason Maxwell King," Maxwell said, tapping Jason's chest gently. "Everything you've done, every dunk, every joke, every late-night movie, is you. Nothing can cancel that." Jason's eyes glistened. "But I have another dad somewhere." "Another father," Maxwell corrected. "Not another dad. If you want to find him, I'll help. If you never want to, I'll respect that too." Jason looked at me. "Mom?" I stepped forward. "I will answer every question. No more hiding." He nodded once, processing. Then he held out the cracked trophy photo. "This broke when I slammed the door. Fits, huh?" Maxwell took the frame, studied the fissure. "Things crack. We fix them." He handed it back. Jason exhaled, a long shiver leaving his body. "I feel empty, like I'm made of questions." Maxwell placed a hand on his shoulder. "Let's fill them together." Jason surprised me then. He turned, hugged Maxwell. No words, just a grip tight as seatbelts. Maxwell hugged back, eyes closed, tears slipping down his cheek. I waited, heart aching, until Jason let go and turned to me. He hesitated, then hugged me too, but softer, guarded. I held him, whispered, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." He didn't answer, yet he didn't pull away. We stood like that, the three of us forming a clumsy triangle, while city lights danced on water. Eventually Maxwell cleared his throat. "Rules going forward," he counted on fingers. 1, total honesty. 2, family therapy, weekly. 3, basketball practice resumes when doc clears you. 4, open talk about meeting your biological father, if and when you want. Jason wiped his face. "Can Rule 5 be suya tonight? I'm starving." His voice carried a half smile. Maxwell chuckled. "Rule 5 accepted." We walked back to the SUV. As I drove, Maxwell reached over, laced his fingers through mine for the first time since the closet. I squeezed back. It didn't erase the past, but it marked the road ahead. At a red light, Jason leaned forward. "Hey, Dad," he asked. "Yeah? Am I still champ?" Maxwell looked at him through the mirror, eyes bright. "Always." The light turned green. We rolled forward, leaving the bridge, the lagoon, and the shattered mirror of our secret behind us. Heading into a future full of cracks, yes, but also room for repair.